to the blockchain breeze. He's live every day, decode the mazing. JJ's cryptic corner where the coins keep turning. Logging out, the future's burning. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. Pixels glow, charts flow. Crypto whispers, secrets show. He cracks the code on this winding road. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. Tune in, lean back, grab your coffee, hit the track. JJ's live, don't be late. Cryptic wisdom, seal your fate. JJ's cryptic.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Happy Wednesday? It's Wednesday. How's everyone doing today? Sign up in the chat, smash the like button on your way in. I appreciate you guys for joining. Let's get a poll going. Let me ask a simple question. Everything is red. What is your move right now? Buying the dip? Selling to stay in cash? Watching and waiting, or crying in the corner? Let me know what you guys think. Poll in the chat. What's going on, Philly? All right. Oh, I gotta go turn on my webcam. Hey, we're back in the bunker, guys. It's getting spooky out there. Everyone's tweaking, so playing it safe. We're in the bunker. How you guys doing? Let's go refresh our liquidation heat map and see where we're at. I feel a little off today, which is weird because I was not feeling off earlier. I was feeling pretty dang good. Oh, weird thin liquidity, 75.99. Interesting. This is odd. 75.99. 75.99. Let's make that green. It's supposed to be. Yeah. Bam. Okay. Next. 71. 945. Okay. The top of the top. I'm going to go all the way up. Why not? Well, I guess I'll go right here. 73, 178. And the bottom of the bottom. I guess I'll go right here. 69, 478. We are officially back at 71,000. Oh, and typed in 59, 478. That's awkward. Okay, there we go. Very small range, pulled back, I guess, as we expected. I didn't know if this was going to continue to the upside or if, you know, the whole fractal shifts over, whatever. We were expecting a potential pullback down to 70K. Evan said, why are you talking so slow? I'm not. Stop it. Gold up 0.52% on the day. Currently trading at 48.43. Big dump. This thing lost 5K and just plummeted. Oddly enough, silver seemingly holding up a little bit better. It's at 76.39. Probably down more. I don't know, actually. Let's see. Gold, after it lost 5K, dumped approximately 4%. Yeah, silver is down more, isn't it? After it lost 80. Yeah. Actually, they're about the same. Not too bad. We'll see if silver can get back above 77. Otherwise, looking for a potential touch of 70 being a psychological level. Philly said, will you quit it with the polls? They F up my mobile screens. Evan, because he's from Michigan. Oh yeah, Evan did. Evan's got literal meteorites raining down upon him in Ohio. God is like, no, stop existing. All right, DXY broke back above 100. Broke back is right. Look at that. Same pattern playing out over and over again. You get your spike, your little pullback, and then explosion to the upside. Spike. Are we going to get a second pullback and then our explosion to the upside? Same thing playing out over and over again. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. So nothing really crazy going on. We got Fed rate decision today. The Fed decided to do nothing, which is great because we pay them and they do nothing, and that's perfect. Don't you love it when you have to pay somebody even though they don't do anything? It's great, isn't it? Make sure you guys state your opinion on the poll in the chat. We got 3 votes right now. Everything is red. What's your move right now? Buying the dip, selling to stay in cash, watching and waiting, or crying in the corner. How's my audio? Does it sound better today? Anyways, Bitcoin 71.64. Expecting a test of 70K. We hold that or not is up for debate. ETH actually retesting our purple trend line, which is our trend line that goes back 6 years all the way to 2020. So it's nice to see the retest. If we hold it, great. If not, it's going to get a little spicy. I'm glad we're still above 2K, obviously, because that's within above that range. And our RSI was overbought. We're chilling out now. We are chilling out now. So that's awesome. Let's see if we get a bounce here and can get back above 22.50. Solana is up 0.08 cents to daily close, $90.15. Bouncing off of the $88 level. So far, everything looks really good, actually. This is weirdly exciting. I thought I was going to be irritated. I haven't really looked at the charts all day, but I saw everything was red. The charts look really nice. I'm not saying it's bullish. It looks, I'm leaning more on the side of a recovery as of right now. Obviously, that's going to depend on geopolitical nonsense that occurs. We get a little double top rejection at 750 billion on a total 3. That pulled back to 725 and is getting a nice bounce off of that. Psychological level, previous resistance turns support. I don't know. Looks pretty good. Let's see what happens. ADA down 0.36. Retracing majority of the move here. Potentially finding support at 27.5, I guess. A little arbitrary number for you. What's going on, Reese? Snack up 0.04. Retraced the entire move here. We got a little BART going on. 4.9 is going to hold that and get back above 5. That's the ideal scenario. If it does lose this, then 4.5 is definitely in the cards. Midnight, bottom of the range, 46.94. If we lose that, it's going to get pretty spicy. Pretty dang spicy. So that's something to keep an eye on for sure. XRP. XRP actually pulled back to our upper trend line right here. Upper trend line, breakout, retest. If it confirms as support, getting above 150 is going to be the next important level, and see if we can go from there. Reese said Zebek and XRP partnership announcement this weekend, potentially at XRP Vegas. That's huge. That's actually epic. Zebek. Look at that. Yeah, what you don't want is a repeat of this. So far, I mean, you're sideways, but it's not as volatile, so I think that there's more upside potential just because of the lack of volatility. There's no serious downside pressure. It's very, very flat, which has a ton of potential for upside. RSI looks good. Money flow just flipped positive. Yeah, get above and stay above 2, and then we can start talking about 25. H-bar. Rejecting 10. Pretty hard, actually. Bottom of the range now. Sweet. Rejecting $1.98. We need to get above $1. Ondo. What's Ondo doing? 26. I don't really know. Ondo had this upper trend line resistance, which is iffy. There's only 3 points of confluence, but you kind of did a fake out above it. I guess the fake out with the triangles has me a little spooked, just because the fake out, first move, false move. If we do break down, that's probably going to be why. We got upper trend line resistance for arrow. Didn't even try. I tried to get above 35.42 though. A little arbitrary number for that as well, based on like a couple of resistance lines, I guess. Money flow is positive though. Let's see if you can bounce off 32 for arrow. Polka dot. Polka dot looks great For some reason, Polkadot's holding up better than everything else. Avalanche. Oh my gosh. Avalanche lost $10 and is back at 950 support. That actually could be a pretty good support level. We got kind of like interim, it's very iffy resistance level at 950. Turn support, you broke above, you got support, support, break, fake out, support again. Are you going to use that to springboard to the upside? Time will tell. Chainlink, similar setup to Avalanche, is on a ascending channel, which is not great. We could not get above the upper trend line. Are we going to break below and plummet after that? That would be pretty crazy if we did. Always got to keep everything into consideration, though. Billy said good news incoming and posted this. What? What did you put in the chat, Billy? All right. Chainlink 921. Chainlink really struggling with that $10 level. Doge struggling with 10 cents. Oh, it did the thing. Oh, it never does the thing. What? I freak out every time I see that, dude. Oh man, that's awesome. I don't know why it's so random. Is that like an NFT? Like, do I get something since I saw that? It seems so rare. I haven't seen that in forever. Bitcoin, $71,022. Let's get to the news segment. All right, we got a lot of news today, so bear with me. I'm going to try to not lose my voice, but I'm already like in the process of losing my voice, so excuse me for one moment. Okay, let's see if we can actually get through this. Watcher Guru posted, in 2024, FTX sold its 8% stake in Anthropic for $1.3 billion as part of its bankruptcy proceedings. Today, that same 8% stake would be worth over $30 billion. That's crazy. Evan said, we didn't see it, man. You okay? Dude, no joke. When I first saw that, I actually freaked out and I tried to replicate it. And I kept going back and forth. I'm like, where did it go? What even was that? And it looks so goofy. It does not look official at all. I legit, like, I was sitting on the couch and it happened, and my family's like on the couch, and I'm like, oh, there's a thing, there's a Doge thing. And everyone was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I can't, and I kept flicking back and forth, and I was like, I can't get it to show up again. I looked like a crazy person. Philly said, JG, your voice sounds like you have AIDS, the final stage of it. I don't, what does that sound like, Philly? Are you familiar? Coffee's delicious. All right. So far, 100% of you guys saying buy the dip. We only got 3 votes, so let's get some more votes in that poll. X to soon allow users to restrict replies to posts by country or region. I thought that said religion, actually. X head of product Nikita Beer says the official incentive to spam on X will decline enormously over the next 30 days. US PPI rises to 3.4% higher than expectations. 115 million worth of crypto longs liquidated in the past 4 hours. Brent crude surges to $110 following Israeli strikes on Iranian gas plant. Pretty spooky. Average U.S. gas prices rise to $3.85 for the first time since September 2023. I'm so mad whenever I get gas now. I'm so irritated. Bitcoin crashes under 71K, down 5% today. Federal Reserve leaves interest rates unchanged, remains at 3.5 to 3.75. I feel like when they don't do anything, they shouldn't get paid. I don't know. It bugs me. Fed Chair Jerome Powell warns rising energy prices from U.S.-Israeli war with Iran will drive inflation higher. No shit. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says most Federal Reserve members do not expect interest rate hikes. You know what bugs me? Is they're like, our job is to control inflation, keep it under 2%. It's been how long, bro? It has been how long? And you have failed to get inflation under 2%. What's the problem here? Because if I spent several years trying to get a project done at my work, I would have been fired. They would have fired me. It should not take you that long to do anything, ever. Philly said at 2 o'clock I scooped up some Arrow shorts and chain link shorts. Nice. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says who cares? $820 billion wiped out from the U.S. stock market today. $120 billion wiped out from the crypto market cap. Wow. SEC approves Nasdaq rule to allow tokenized stocks and securities trading. Marty Party posted, in my opinion, this is how the game theory plays out. We got another theory from Marty Party. Are you ready? U.S. military engagement in the Middle East fails to achieve rapid, decisive victory. The Strait of Hormuz experiences extended operational disruption. Oil prices spike. Petrodollar recycling mechanisms come under stress. Foreign central banks reduce U.S. Treasury holdings. U.S. borrowing costs rise. Fed responds with significant balance sheet expansion. Global liquidity expands significantly. Bitcoin, as the most sensitive asset to liquidity with a finite supply, absorbs a disproportionate share of that impulse. This is forced monetary expansion. Philly said the interest rates haven't dropped because most Americans are stupid buyers. Kobe SE letter posted. New home prices in 70 Chinese cities fell 3.2% year over year in February, the steepest annual drop in 8 months. China's 2008 moment continues. Evan said, like the stream or you'll get bed bugs. Ooh, damn, that's crazy. U.S. February PPI inflation rises to 3.4%, above expectations of 2.9%. Core PPI inflation rises to 3.9%, above 3.7% expected. Core PPI inflation is at its highest since February 2023, and this data does not include the Iran war. Rate cuts are being priced out. Brent crude oil prices surged to $110 a barrel after Israel strikes Iran's largest gas plant. Iran is now announcing that some Gulf energy sites are legitimate targets. Iraq says gas supplies from Iran have been completely halted following Israeli strikes on the South Pars gas field. This is the world's largest natural gas reserve and is jointly operated by Iran and Qatar. Iran has issued an order to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE to evacuate energy facilities following Israeli strikes on Iran's largest gas facility. Markets are now fully pricing in 2 25 basis point rate hikes by the European Central Bank in 2026. The U.S. and Israel have now struck 15,000 targets in Iran since the war began on February 28th, per Wall Street Journal. War details include 50,000 American service members have now been sent Middle East to support the operation. U.S. and Israel have conducted 11,500 combat flights. The U.S. has destroyed more than 100 Iranian naval vessels. Total U.S. cost of war is nearing $25 billion, or $11,500 per second. Average U.S. gas price is now up 40% since December. We are now on day 19 of the Iran war. 88 said, yo, what's going on, 88? Philly said, Philadelphia saw $4 gas today. Yeah, it's been $3.99 here for a week. So, our president sucks. Cubby SE letter posted, there is a historic divergence in oil prices across regions. Oman crude prices are up $154 a barrel, crossing $150 for the first time ever. At the same time, Dubai crude is up $130 a barrel, while Brent is trading at $102 and WTI at $93. In other words, the gap between Oman and U.S. prices now stands at 65% or 61% per barrel. Or $61, per barrel. By comparison, before the Iran war, the difference between all benchmarks was just $5 in January and February. Brent and WTI are priced based on U.S. and European supply conditions, while the actual disruption is concentrated in the Middle East, meaning they do not fully capture the severity of the physical shortage yet. In the Strait, if the Strait does not reopen, the divergence will narrow, as Brent and WTI will ultimately reprice higher once U.S. and European oil reserves are depleted. The global oil market cannot sustain prolonged Middle East disruption. What did we do during the war and the whole the George Bush era war in the Middle East? Did we just not have gas? I don't remember $4 a gallon gas back then. This all seems like BS to me. There is a historic divergence in oil prices across regions. Can we just read this? Yeah. The Federal Reserve leaves rates unchanged, officially halting interest rate cuts for the second straight meeting. Summary of Fed decision. Fed halts rate cuts for the second straight meeting. Fed projects one rate cut in 2026, one in 2027. Fed 2026 PCE inflation forecast revised higher to 2.7%. Fed says implications of Middle East development are uncertain. Fed Governor Miran dissents in favor of an interest rate cut. Today's rate decision was reached with an 11-1 vote. We believe December was Fed Chair Powell's final rate cut. Summary of Fed Chair Powell's statement. Inflation in the U.S. remains somewhat elevated. He always says that. Economic implications of the war in Iran are uncertain. Near-term inflation expectations have risen due to rising oil prices. Fed long-term inflation target remains at 2%. Last year's rate cuts bring rates to plausible estimates of neutral. Higher energy prices will push overall inflation up. The Fed is now what appears to be a long pause. Okay. Losses across all three major U.S. stock market indices exceed 1% on the day as Middle East tensions escalate and PPI inflation hits 13-month high. Short positions on U.S. oil funds are surging. Short interest on the U.S. oil and gas exploration and production ETF, IEO, is up to 2.8%, near the highest in 4 years. Short interest has tripled since the start of 2026. Over the same period, IEO prices have risen 33% to an all-time high. Furthermore, short interest in the United States oil ETF USO has soared 3 million shares or 50% over the last month. This means traders are increasingly betting against rising oil prices, even as the rally continues, a setup that often leads to extreme volatility. Brace for more volatility in the oil market. Wow. Breaking, the Dow Jones Industrial Average falls nearly 800 points and posts its lowest close of 2026. It's going to go lower. Qatar reports extensive damage from an Iranian missile strike at Ras Laffan, the world's largest LNG facility. That's liquefied natural gas, I think. Details include Ras Laffan accounts for around 20% of global LNG supply. The plant was reportedly lit on fire as a result of the strike. The attack comes just hours after Israeli strikes on Iran's largest natural gas plant. Iran warned that a number of energy assets across the Gulf are now legitimate targets. Natural gas prices are surging on the news. Philly said, JJ, what would need to happen for officially being able to say this is World War III? In my opinion, let's ask Grok that, because I'm genuinely curious. Because in my opinion, we've already been in World War III. Explain to me how the Russia fighting the Ukraine, and the Ukraine being funded by the United States, that's 3 countries right there, and then the United States, Israel, are fighting Iran, and then Iran is being funded by Russia. That's Russia, Iran, Ukraine, United States, Israel. That's 5 countries. How is that not a world war? Am I crazy? That's huge. That is a world war, bro. And there's basically all these proxies and shit. I don't know. That's it. That's my opinion. With Ukraine and Russia, and now U.S., Israel, and Iran. How is this not a World War III scenario? What would it take to call it World War III? Alright, let's see what Grok has to say. Um, 88 said if it was World War III, NATO would be in action. No, I don't know. Evan said like the stream. I've never seen a bedbug in person. I hear they're bad. 88 said also JJ, lots of smaller wars, Africa, Asian. Yeah, there's so many wars happening, dude. It's crazy. It blows my mind. This is World War III though, okay? Like we're fighting a proxy war against Russia right now, essentially. And Iran. And then Russia is fighting a proxy war against the United States in the Ukraine. It's not a world war when all the participants are white. That's what flight fans said. Are people in Iran considered white people? I don't know, man. I don't even know. What is white? What is white? Irish? Like anyone from like the England area? I don't know, man. It's confusing. All right. Before I get canceled, let's get back to the news segment. Qatar reports extensive damage. President Trump wants no more strikes on Iranian energy infrastructure after today's Israeli strikes on vital Iranian gas field, per Wall Street Journal. Didn't he say that after the last one? He said that 3 times now. They're not listening. I think something's they're like Trump is like, you better not do it. And Israel's just like, oh, I'm gonna press the button. Trump's like, you better not. And he's like, I pressed it. Trump's like, you son of a bitch. I told you not to do that. Now I have to go have a press conference and say that I didn't want you to do that. Like, there's nothing getting done here. It's silly. Flight fan said Grok. Oh yeah, I read that already. 88 said, I would think it's a Israel thing more than anything. I don't know, man. Crypto market momentum is accelerating. It is. Crypto funds recorded 1.06 billion in inflows last week, the highest since the third week of January. This marks the third consecutive weekly intake, bringing the total to 2.8 billion. This now covers most of the 3.9 billion in outflows from the prior 5-week selling streak. Bitcoin ETFs led with 793 million, making up 75% of total inflows, bringing the 3-week inflows to 2.2 billion. Ethereum saw 315 million, bringing year-to-date net inflows close to zero. Since the start of the Iran war, total crypto ETF assets under management have risen 12 billion, or 9.4% to 140 billion. Investors are returning to crypto despite the geopolitical turmoil. I think there's a lot of FUD going around, and everyone's worried about the value of the US dollar. I think crypto is our next best bet, because it seems like the US dollar is going to be not okay. Like, to the point where gold and silver are somehow crashing as well. Everything is crashing, so everyone's like, well, if I can't get my money out of the bank because the banks go under, and I can't buy or trade my gold and silver because they've been confiscated by the federal government, or whatever, nobody has any cash to buy or trade it with, I'm going to need to buy something else. That's just my assumption. We might just be screwed out of everything. With the powers that be, what if the aliens are just like siphoning all of the liquidity out of the market just to make it look like everything's going to zero? And then we're all going to be like stuck without money, and the aliens are going to be like, now go live without money. And we're going to be like, what do we do? I don't know what to do. No one's going to know how to function. But did you guys see that the government registered aliens.gov domain? Read the Grok results. 88 said, JJ, just don't want to get canceled. I dig it, sir. You in the bunker today, eh? I am in the bunker. Okay, we asked Grok, with Ukraine and Russia, and now US, Israel, and Iran, how is this not a World War III scenario? What would it take to call it World War III? Because the current conflicts remain separate regional wars, not a single global conflagration involving the major powers fighting each other across multiple continents with coordinated strategy. Sir, that's literally what's happening. Here's the factual picture. As of mid-March 2026, Russia, Ukraine, now the 5th year, US, Israel, Iran, started February 28th. These are parallel crises with some loose connections. Russia-Iran ties hurting the US indirectly, but they are not fueled into one war. The combatants don't fully overlap. Why experts say this isn't World War III. World War I and II involved nearly all great powers fighting across Europe, total societal mobilization, declarations of war, and existential allies. By contrast, standard definitions today require a world war conflict with large forces from many principal national fighting directly. What would make it World War III? China joins NATO, Russia clash, full alliance overlap, the global spread, nuclear use, or regime collapse chaos. If you add a third major front in Asia to the existing Europe, Middle East ones, that's World War III in anyone's book right now. We're not there. Russia is too tied down in Ukraine to ride to the rescue in Iran. US-Israel campaign is targeted, not endless occupation, and no one has declared total war. The fear is real and understandable. Oil prices spiking, refugee inflows. How is this sustainable? I can't see a scenario where Trump comes out of this with a midterm victory. It seems like he has no strategy and is just ruining the country. Let's see what Grok says to that. Bitcoin $71,018.41. It's the same price it was 8 hours ago. Flight ban, the whole thing is like some kind of international trailer park white people issue. Evan said, go back to what you were saying about Israel on the space. What were you saying exactly? Flight fan said, long lost family issue. Oh, I was just saying I don't care for any of the countries that are involved. I think that they're all assholes. I can't say the F word. The F word will definitely get my 40 views will go down to 30 if I say the F word. That's a 25% loss in viewership. Truflation's at 1.51%, which is different from whatever the Fed is basing all their crap off of. Binance saw a 2.2 billion USDT inflow, the largest since November 2025, signaling a sharp return of liquidity after months of slowdown. Theory from RV posted, every time oil prices surged 50% above trend, a recession followed every single time. We just crossed that threshold again. This isn't a prediction, it's history rhyming. Alright. Flight fan said, long lost family issue. Ask Grok if Trump wins the war, will the U.S. have full ownership of the strait with the Panama Canal? We don't own the Panama Canal. Crypto Spaces said, good night, chat. How we feeling? Feeling okay. I'm actually excited for bed today. I don't know why. I did not have a long day, and I didn't really... I was swinging a hammer around, but I wasn't really working that hard, to be honest. It was a weird, lazy day. We got some green showing up, which is odd. I like Solana being green. We'll see what happens. Charts. This guy's calling for a recession. Cointelegraph. U.S. February producer prices are higher than expected. We got plus 0.7% month over month, plus 0.3% estimated. And PPI plus 3.4% year over year versus 2.9% estimate. Core PPI plus 0.5% month over month versus 0.3% estimated. Bank of Canada leaves interest rates unchanged at 2.25%. Very cool. S&P Dow Jones indices license the S&P 500 to trade XYZ for a perpetual contract on Hyperliquid. Very cool. This one was interesting because we talk about VCs a lot. 75% of VC firms are not pulling back on crypto in 2026. According to a Cointelegraph research survey, 75% of firms expect their crypto allocation in 2026 to increase or remain unchanged from 2025. Only 25% anticipate a decrease. The signal is clear. Institutional interest in crypto is holding. I don't know. There's a 25% decrease. Is that holding? Capital may be deployed more selectively, but most firms are maintaining or expanding exposure rather than stepping away. You literally just said 25% are anticipating a decrease. What are you talking about? Yeah, no, I'm sorry. This is bad. You can paint it in a positive light if you want to, but that's bad. FTX Recovery Trust will distribute approximately $2.2 billion to creditors in its fourth payout on March 31st, 2026. Very cool. Top 20% of Americans hold 56.4% of the $48 trillion real estate market, while the bottom 20% owns just 5.1%, the top 1% alone matching the bottom 40%. Wow. Crude is below $100 again. It's going lower. No, it's not. Do you know anything about oil? No. Do you? No. This is Polymarket's monitoring the situation bar. It's pretty sick. I'm excited. I might actually make a trip to New York just to go there. Just in, World Health Organization officials admit they are preparing for a worst-case scenario nuclear threat if U.S.-Israel war with Iran escalates. Whoa. Latest 13F data shows hedge funds have sharply reduced Bitcoin ETF exposure, while advisors, sovereign funds, and or institutions continue accumulating, signaling a shift toward longer-term holders. There you go. That's the right way to do it. This guy has so much hair. Is that real? Big Powell says he would serve as Fed chair pro tem if no successor is confirmed by the end of his term. That's messed up. Update. Bitcoin whales. 100 plus Bitcoin moved 44,459 Bitcoin to exchanges in a single day. They're probably selling. Polymarket is launching the Situation Room, a Washington, D.C. bar dedicated to real-time event monitoring with live feeds, data terminals, and prediction markets. This is sick. I'm actually excited for this. I think it's a new paradigm shift. People don't really drink alcohol and watch sports as much as they used to, but they probably will gamble and watch the news. What a strange world we live in, man. No wonder nobody has any friends. Hey, man, you want to go party? No, man, I'm monitoring the situation. Oh, you want to... What if I come over? You want to, like, have some beers? No, I'm actually having a kombucha right now. What did you just say to me? All right, man, I got to go. My screen time is... I'm using up my screen time being on the phone with you. Oh, man. All right. Netflix is developing an 8-episode series, The Altruists, about Sam Bankman-Fried and Caroline Ellison, starring Julia Garner and Anthony Boyle. Will you watch it? I don't know. Is he going to get any money off of it? CryptoSpaces said Ben Cowan is making his rounds and replying to all the accounts with screenshots again. Wow. He's probably really upset because people were probably calling him out during the one day that we were pumping. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped nearly 800 points, marking its lowest close of 2026. You should ask him if he'll unblock me. Prediction market platform Polymarket has acquired crypto payments startup Brahma, aiming to improve user experience and boost liquidity for smaller niche markets. Very cool. It's like my dream to develop some crap like whatever this Brahma is and sell it to Polymarket or some big firm for like millions of dollars. I did just download Unity. I'm gonna try to make a game, man. I'm gonna try to develop a video game. I already got good like 50-60% of what I do at my current job is 3D modeling, like from scratch. So I feel like that's a little bit of qualification. All right, let's see. Continue. Centralized finance borrowing hits $27.56 billion in Q4 2025, marking 8 straight quarters of growth, with Tether holding a 61.84% market share. Very cool. The Fed held rates steady at 3.5 to 3.75% as expected, with traders anticipating a bullish relief rally and only gradual rate cuts projected into 2026-2027. Mark Chadwick posted a huge Nasdaq just got approved to enable trading of securities in tokenized form. The dominoes are starting to fall. This is a massive validation that blockchain will become the core of the global financial infrastructure. We're seeing tokenized assets, payment networks, integrating crypto, and regulators defining frameworks all at the same time. This won't stop at equities. It expands into settlements, payments, collateral, and eventually the broader crypto ecosystem. That's how trillions gain safe access to invest in and build on the broader crypto ecosystem. Very cool. CryptoSpaces said, I saw a guy cry with his girlfriend after his video game blew up. He made 200K, probably much more now because of the virality. Oh yeah, I saw that clip too. I saw the one a couple days ago that this dude and like his team were working on a game for like 4 years and they made 30K in the first like hour. I thought that was pretty cool. I think it'd be fun to document like the process of making a video game. MSB Intel posted, here's what most people are missing. Qatar's Ras Laffan and Iran's South Pars sit on the same gas reservoir, the world's largest, 1,800 trillion or 1,800 trillion cubic feet. I don't know what the hell, how do you read that number? Israel struck South Pars this morning. Iran struck Ras Laffan tonight. Both sides of the world's biggest gas field are now on fire in the same day. Ras Laffan was already offline since March 2nd, force majeure. The missile just caused physical damage to a facility that produces 77 million tons of LNG per year. EU gas shortage or storage below 30% versus 40% last year. Brent 108.78 per barrel, I'm assuming, up $5.80 today. European gas benchmark TTF plus 6% and climbing. 20% of global LNG supply is now damaged infrastructure. Now just paused production. All right. There was no conclusion to this. He just said, here's what most people are missing. Just that 20% of, I don't think anybody's missing that. I think everyone's saying that. What's missing? The Dow didn't just fall 768 points today. It's following a pattern. Every major oil shock in modern history triggered a stock market drawdown. The question is always, which pattern are we in? 1990 Gulf War, Dow fell 20%, recovered in 6 months. Hormuz stayed open, war lasted 6 weeks. 2022 Russia-Ukraine, Dow fell 19%. Oil rerouted within months, Fed had room to maneuver. 1973 Arab embargo, Dow fell 45% over 2 years. Wow. Oil routes physically blocked, Fed trapped by inflation, no end date. That's crazy. Today's setup, Hormuz closed 14 days, no reroute possible. PPI plus 0.7% this morning, double the estimate. Fed just held rates, traders pricing zero cuts, active strikes on energy infrastructure in both directions. The Dow is minus 8.5% from its February 10th high of 50,512, below its 200-day moving average, on pace for the worst month since 2022. That variable that determines everything. How long does oil stay above $100? Crypto spaces. Yep, Philly said, who wants that shit in a bar? Oh, I would go to that bar all day. Crypto spaces said, saw a tweet saying easy mode never coming back, so I guess crypto like the stock market now. I don't know. I don't even know if it's like the stock market. The stock market went up this year. Crypto did not. Tyler said just dropped in to say hi. How you doing, Tyler? Cheers, my friend. President Trump has called for no strikes on Iranian energy infrastructure following today's strikes on vital Iranian gas field by Israel, per Wall Street Journal. He did that before. They still struck. It doesn't matter what he says. Context most people are missing. Trump has been protecting Iran's energy infrastructure since day one of this war. He bombed military targets on Karg Island on March 14th, but deliberately left the oil terminals untouched, called it decency. Today, Israel went around that and hit South Pars, the world's largest gas field. Iran retaliated within hours by striking Qatar's Ras Laffan. 20% of global LNG, fires burning, extensive damage. Trump called for no more energy strikes, is the first de-escalation signal in 18 days. But here's the problem. Iran has already named 5 more Gulf energy facilities as targets. The escalation ladder doesn't have a pause button. Brent 107, Hormuz, day 14, closed. Crypto Spaces said, prediction markets in a bar will be fun for certain moments like an election and everyone has their bets. Oh, 100%. Philly said, yo, what's up, Tyler? All right, BlackRock just started aggressively liquidating Bitcoin right after the U.S. market opened. They just dumped over $250 million and keep selling more. It looks like they know something really bad news is coming today. I think the problem is people say BlackRock, but it's BlackRock clients. Larry Fink's not out there hit and sell. It's people that own Bitcoin through BlackRock that are selling. Alex Mason posted, this is peak FUD, so brace yourselves. This is not normal. In the last 30 minutes, palladium down 4.26%. Platinum minus 3.95%. I'm going to go tinfoil for this one. This is a tinfoil. This is a tinfoil guy for sure. Bitcoin minus 3.85%. Silver minus 3.11%. Gold minus 3.1%. Trillions just disappeared from the market. We are moving into an extreme statistical event. Something that has never happened in the history of finance. That's more than the GDP of 99% of countries erased in minutes. This is the start of a forced liquidation phase. Liquidity is vanishing. Funds are getting margin called. Positions are being closed. They're selling whatever still has value just to stay alive. I've been in finance for more than 15 years. Are you ready for it? When I exit the markets completely, I'll say it here publicly like I always do. Many people will wish they followed me sooner. So bad, dude. So yeah, there's that. That guy's tweaking. He thinks that, I don't know, there's no money or something. Why don't we, at that point, we would just print more. UK lawmakers to ban crypto political donations. British lawmakers are urging an immediate ban on crypto donations to political parties to keep UK politics safe from illicit finance. They warn crypto poses unacceptably high risk to election integrity due to anonymity and weak traceability. Why does any of that matter? That's such a weird thing to have a problem with. CryptoSpace said my timeline was extra bearish today. Oh, it's so bad today, dude. It's so bad. Bar chart posted asset managers dumped $36.2 billion worth of S&P 500 futures contracts between March 3rd through the 10th. Their largest weekly sale in over a decade. That's a lot of dump. This cracked me up. The bull, the bull in Germany. The big lows in the stock market are still coming. Warren's Bank of America. This is a bull statue and a bear statue outside Frankfurt Stock Exchange on April 7th in Frankfurt, Germany. The bull is freaking hilarious. The bear actually looks like a Disney, or I think it's Disney. Is it Disney? Brother Bear? Or is that DreamWorks? I don't remember. It looks like a cartoon, but the bull cracked me up, dude. That's a funny looking bull. South Korean Stock Exchange getting sent by more than 5%. Everything in the world is on fire, and South Korea is like, woohoo! The stock market is actually in the green. S&P 500 on track for its third consecutive weekly close below the 20-week moving average. Last time that happened was last year's tariff drama. We are approaching Liberation Day on April 2nd. That's going to be the 1-year anniversary. Blockchain Bruce said it's not bad. What's not bad? I do, my friend. Everyone calling recession and meningitis breakout in the UK. It's hard not to be a doomer. Meningitis breakout. I haven't seen that one yet. Silver on track for 6 consecutive red days. It's the longest losing streak since December 2023. S&P 500 take a big fat dumperino. Stock market plunges to most amount of fear since Thanksgiving. We are at 18 in extreme fear. SanDisk on track for its 8th consecutive green month. That's crazy. Broken. AMC Entertainment apes in shambles as AMC collapses to an all-time low. Crazy stuff, man. Micron falling after earnings announcement. Number go down. S&P 500 is now the closest it's been to falling below its 200-day moving average since May. Haven't said livestream or James Earl Jones haunts you. Beautiful voice, James Earl Jones. Did you know that he was not the original voice to Darth Vader? The actor for Darth Vader voiced the lines, and they were like, it doesn't seem right. And then they had James Earl Jones dub the vocals in. And obviously the effect was amazing, but the original voice is so not Vader. It's crazy. Go back and check that out. It's a fun little Easter egg. I started watching last night Peaky Blinders. I'm kind of excited to continue because it looks pretty damn good so far. We got 8 votes on the current poll. I asked you guys, everything is red. What's your move right now? So far, 49% of you guys said buying the dip. 38% said watching and waiting. 13% said crying in the corner. Luckily, 0% said selling and staying in cash. We don't like panic sellers. If you want to not panic and sell, that's totally fine. But if you sell on a day where it's really, really red, most people are going to assume that you did that out of panic. I'm going to do a very, very important one. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to do this one. How do you think Iran conflict ends? We have no changes. Just ceasefire. We got regime change. We got U.S. troops. Force. We've got Iran surrenders. Out of these available options, how do you think the Iran conflict is going to end? No changes, just a ceasefire, regime change, U.S. troops, force, or Iran surrenders. Let me know what you guys think. Evan said it's peaky. It does. It looks really good. I've watched the first episode so far. I almost stayed up to watch the second one, but it was like 4 o'clock in the morning by the time I was done. So I did shut it off and go to bed. But it was really good. All right. Last 3, we got Coinfessions. I really need the McRib to come back on the menu. It's a question of staying sane and not being poor. The only way to get the bounce we need is when the McRib comes back. It is historically proven that when it does, it makes the local bottom. Heck yeah. Crypto Spaces said, I'll be an optimist on the poll. We got another one. Lost almost everything in Wonderland staking. Put the rest into Titan. Never recovered. That sucks. Sometimes that happens, man. Can't put all your eggs in one basket. I chased money knowing it probably won't make me happy but I still hoped it would. Now I got what I wanted. I'm rich enough to do nothing all day and completely alone. Lucky me. Some people want that. But this guy did. He made the money that he was looking out to make. What's nice about that is once you do that, you have the time to then focus on yourself and figure out what you want. Okay, I asked Grok regarding the Iran situation, how is this sustainable? I can't see a scenario where Trump comes out of this with a midterm victory. It seems like he has no strategy and is just ruining the country. Grok said, it's sustainable in the short term, militarily, economically, and logistically, but the political and longer term costs are mounting fast, exactly as you're sensing. This isn't an endless nation building like Iraq or Afghanistan. It's a limited, high-intensity air campaign, Operation Epic Fury, that's already 3 weeks in, and with a stated goal of 4 to 5 weeks max to degrade Iran's nuclear sites, missile stockpiles, navy, and leadership. Reports confirm Khamenei was targeted. No large-scale U.S. ground troops, no occupation. The U.S. military has munitions basing via Israel and Gulf partners, and air superiority to sustain this without stretching thin. Ukraine remains mostly arms, logistics support, not directed combat. Economically, the pain is real. Oil up 35 to 50% from Hormuz disruptions and Iranian retaliation. U.S. gas prices now $3.20 to $3.59 in many areas. It's $4, bro. It's $4. Early costs early cost hits 11 to 12 billion in munitions and ops, plus 13 U.S. deaths so far. See, 1 U.S. death is too many. That's not okay. Recession risks if it drags, and the inflation is the voter flashpoint, but the U.S. is now a net energy producer, so the shock is cushioned compared to the 1970s-style crisis. Domestic drilling and LNG exports blunt the worst of it. It's not ruining the country. It's a structural sense. In a structural sense, GDP and markets have absorbed worse. The 1990 Gulf War or 2003 Iraq surge. The real damage is short-term pocketbook hits and uncertainty. Trump's strategy isn't absent, it's deliberate and high risk. It's the opposite of the prior administration's approach, maximum pressure via decisive strikes to eliminate the Iranian nuclear proxy threat before it metastasizes. That's a crazy word. Rather than sanctions diplomacy that critics say failed for decades. Parallel track on Ukraine, leverage aid cuts to force negotiations. He's been vocal about that. The theory is win fast, exit clean, deter everyone else. Public support for the goals, stopping nukes, backing Israel, polls decently, even among independents, but the execution and timing are broadly unpopular. 50 to 59% oppose the strikes in current polls. That's why it's a gamble. Success could validate it. Stalemate or escalation could sink it. Midterm victory scenario for Republicans. You're right on that. Looks grim right now. Trump's approval is hovering 38 to 45, net negative 10 to 20 points, down specifically from the war plus gas prices. Generic bailout polls show Democrats leading by 37 points. History is brutal. The president's party has lost House seats in 18 of the last 19 midterms, and an unpopular war plus inflation is the classic recipe for losses. Forecasts currently tilt towards Democratic gains in the House, maybe holding or flipping key Senate seats, but a path to GOP hold or limited losses exists. It's not zero. Quick viable win. I feel like the time for a quick viable win has come and gone. I'm not gonna lie. Perhaps in the next 1 to 2 weeks with verifiable degradation of Iran's capabilities, no major escalation. Economy rebound, U.S. resilience, plus any peace dividend in Ukraine talks could ease inflation. What the hell's a peace dividend? If gas dips below $3 and jobs hold, the war fatigue fades. What's a peace dividend? Saw Trump supporters switch up on him because of gas prices? Yeah. Oh yeah, gas prices are bad, dude. $4 a gallon that's fucking crazy. Like, it did not even get that bad when it was really bad during the pandemic. It didn't get that bad at all over here. I think the worst we saw was like $3.89, and that was for like 1 day. $4 is freaking insane. Base turnout plus framing, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. The counter scenario, more likely per current data, is exactly what you described. Prolonged costs, no clean exit, recession whispers, bigger house losses, maybe Senate trouble. It's not predetermined. These things turn on results in the next 60 to 90 days. Not intent. Wars are always easier to start than end, and the political math is unforgiving when gas is high and body bags, even a few, hit the news. Bottom line, it's sustainable enough to finish the stated mission without breaking the military or bankrupting the Treasury, but the voter tolerance window is narrow. Trump has a clear, if aggressive, strategy. He's not winging it, but sustainability hinges on speed and outcomes, not just willpower. If it drags into summer with $4 gas and no resolution, your midterm pessimism looks spot on. The country isn't ruined, but the political damage is self-inflicted if the bet doesn't pay off fast. 88 said, LOL, imagine paying that oil shipping insurance bill. Right. Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's just a gigantic mess. It really is. Hopefully we get some kind of positivity out of it. If not, freaking crypto, can the metals not take a complete dump? This one's the biggest anomaly to me. Like, the whole world is on fire right now, and everyone's like, let's dump our gold and silver. It doesn't make any sense to me. You guys think U.S. true? Okay, we're 50-50 right now. No, we're not. Well, we got a tie. I'm going to end the poll. We got total of 5 votes. I asked you guys, how do you think the Iran conflict ends? 40% of you guys said U.S. troops force. 40% said Iran surrenders. 20% said no changes, just ceasefire. Nobody said regime change. Crazy. We are, like I said earlier, getting very, very faint green hints in the market. Yesterday was St. Patrick's Day. I think I completely forgot, honestly. I think I said it, but only because I realized, like, once I got home, I was like, oh, shoot, today's St. Patrick's Day, and the day was, like, 90% over with. Crypto Spaces said, trying to be an optimist, but it's been bad all year, LOL. It's been so bad. This has been the worst year for, like, literally everything. Like, January was okay, but it's been pretty damn bad, dude. Actually, was January even okay? No, January was freaking horrible. Look at this. January was just pure dumpage, and then February we got choppy sideways at least. And that's for most of the market, I think. Let me go check S&P. Okay. I mean, the stock market's been wonderful. November, December, January, February, March. March has been really bad for the stock market. Let's see if it bounces, though. I'm kind of expecting it to come all the way down to the 62 level. There are no safe havens, only ammo and food. I guess so, man. I guess so. Ay. I don't know. I've always thought it was kind of funny that people are like, buy gold and silver in case there's an apocalypse. I'm like, what the hell are you going to do with a brick of gold in the apocalypse? Throw it at somebody? You know? What's gold going to do for me? Conduct electricity? I always found that funny. Maybe the ISM comes in crazy high next month and we just get some crazy, like, just completely irrational pump. I don't know, man. Apparently midterm users always crap, so we're probably looking at, I hate saying it this early, but we're probably looking at 2027 for any semblance of fun in any of the markets. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully it's just my current mood and the market weighing down on me. Bitcoin dominance did lose 59 again. DXY, where's the DXY? There it is. But yeah, we'll see if this loses 100. I'm kind of, I think I'm expecting, like I pointed out earlier, I'm kind of expecting this same thing to play out right here. I don't know if it's going to result in a pump, but I'm expecting this part to pull back where we're at right now. I don't know if it pulls back and keeps going or if it actually bounces. No clue, but we'll see, man. We will see. Other than that, market's pretty grim. Market is pretty grim. Crypto Spaces said Ben Cowan would be right. Here's the problem. This guy would be right. The guy that posted this in... When was this posted? December 12th, 2023. This anonymous guy on 4chan would be right. Ben Cowan is literally just plagiarizing this gentleman to the point where he's starting to say the specific date as well. And he did not start saying that until this floated around. So, excuse me for being a little bit peeved. Bitcoin at $71,133.12. That would be pretty epic if it did bounce and do the fractal thing. Even if it fails, it would be funny. But we'll see. We will see. I am losing my voice. I don't know why. I did no talking today. I did zero talking. Literally worked by myself all day. I did not talk to anybody. I get home, I talk for 5 minutes, and I lose my voice. The problem I have with Ben Cowan's theory, this crap, is that everyone thinks that this is the way that it's going to be. And they're all positioned accordingly. And that never happens, man. The masses are never right. Ever. This will be the first time in history that the majority gets it right. And the odds of that happening seem astronomical, in my opinion. So, I'm not saying I know, I have no idea what's going to happen. It might be this. It might be something else entirely. I have no clue. So I'm not saying I have the answer. I find it very hard to think that all of these people that are like, it's going to be October 2026 is going to be the exact bottom. I find it so hard to follow that logic just because everyone is doing it. And I hate that. I hate being the contrarian because I feel like everybody does that. They're like, oh, I don't really like to do what other people do because I'm like different. It's not like that. It's just I've learned from following the masses. Every time everyone thinks one thing, it's always incorrect. Always, like clockwork. Stock market didn't really do much today. We got strategy pulling back to 140. Tesla still sideways. Nvidia still sideways. S&P taking a little baby dump. Potential W right there. I don't know. I am still kind of fully expecting this, like I said, to go down to 62. So we'll see what happens there. Nasdaq up 0.16. 24,435. Pretty big red candles right there from the Powell situation. Dow Jones 46,223, looking pretty bad, pretty bleak. I really want silver to recover. I really want gold to recover. It's weird to me that these are doing bad. It's very, very odd. Doesn't make any sense. In fact, why are silver and gold dumping? Aren't they supposed to be hedges against uncertainty? Or at least inflation? What's going on? Yeah, riddle me that. It really doesn't make sense when you really look at it. Like, you can tell me today, oh, silver had a massive pump. So? And since then, it has gotten significantly more uncertain, and inflation has gotten significantly worse. So, I don't understand the justification that it had a pump. Is it in a big dumb wedge? I hate that. I hate that so much. There's really no shape to it, man. It could be this goofy harmonic thing, which cracks me up when people point these out. But it is there. Who knows, man? Would that be kind of crazy if it actually played out? Then we'll have to learn what the hell that even is. If it does play out, then I will look into the stupid harmonic thing. But I just don't see it. I really don't. I'm struggling to see anything. It's getting funky out there. Gold and silver are indeed dumping right now, hitting 1 month lows despite ongoing conflict. Why the dump? Super strong US dollar. The DXY has roared higher as capital flees to USD and treasuries for safety. Everything gold silver is priced in dollars, so a stronger buck makes them more expensive for foreign buyers. Heavy selling. This dollar headwind has been the #1 killer cited across analysts. Oil shock inflation fears, no rate cuts. Brent, see, again, this should be gold and silver going up. That's where I'm really confused. Brent crude is past 109. This stokes inflation, killing hopes for a Fed rate cut, which normally turbocharge non-yield gold and silver. Higher for longer rates raise the opportunity to costs of holding metals versus bonds. Analysts note metals are in negative correlation with oil right now. Energy is soaking up the safe haven flows instead. Profit-taking liquidations from portfolio rebalancing. After monster rallies, see, this is what I was going to be annoyed about. Gold doubled in 2025 and hit 5,500 all-time highs earlier this year. Silver even wilder. Investors, ETFs, and leveraged players are cashing out. Equities sold off hard on war news, and some are liquidating gold and silver holdings to cover margins or raise cash. Silver gets hit extra hard. It's part industrial metal, solar EVs, so recession whispers from high oil weigh on it too. Bottom line, this doesn't mean the hedge is broken. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. These are classic counter moves we've seen before. Gold fell in the initial Gulf War phases or early pandemic volatility too, only to rip higher later when the real pain hit. If the conflict drags, Hormuz stays messy, inflation sticks, or the dollar eventually cracks or Fed pivots, metals should rebound hard. Silver's industrial side could lag more, blah, blah, blah. Right now it's liquidity, rate, dollar story. Okay, so I guess, where did it say? Hormuz stays messy, inflation sticks, the dollar eventually cracks. Why is the dollar strengthening? That's also a confusing situation. Because I thought nobody wanted to touch it because our debt was so high. Geopolitical risks and safe haven flows, oil shock boosting inflation expectations and delaying Fed cuts, U.S. structural advantages as a net energy exporter. Okay, that's stupid. 100, yep, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right, well, I suppose we're back to boring streams now, unfortunately. We had fun for a couple of days where the market was a little pumpy. Or at least doing something, you know. The sideways streams are boring too. Ugh. I guess I'm going to call it an evening. Appreciate you guys for sticking around. As always, when the market starts to do anything crazy, I will hop back on. Otherwise, I will see you all tomorrow. Don't forget to smash the like button on your way out. Happy Wednesday and good night.